I don't know how many times I've seen really developed upper backs produce really strong deadlifts. Uh, Sometimes I see these people and I think to myself, what the hell is driving this deadlift up? They seem to have very underwhelming legs. Like there's no big glutes, there's no big hamstrings, not even big quads. Yet you're seeing 900 pounds come off the floor, 700 pounds. A lot of these people are built for deadlifting. A lot of these people have these really long arms. When they're standing up straight, it's like, the fingertips are at the knees. It seems like that. But there are others who don't have the really long arms. When they look at a conventional deadlift, the bars basically are almost like at the hip level, man, like just underneath their junk. But these people have very, very strong upper backs. So you guys know yesterday I did 110 pull-ups and completely ruined my workout because I did 55 of those pull-ups before I even touched the bar. So my deadlifts felt crap, my squats felt crap. I kind of got through that portion of the workout, went back to pull-ups, did some more pull-ups. Today I've woken up and I'm like sore everywhere. I was telling my wife this morning, man, like I don't even understand how and why is my chest this sore. My pecs are proper sore on touch. I understand bicep soreness, which I have, lat soreness, obviously. But pecs? Don't understand how that, obviously, everything is working in the upper body when you're moving through a range of motion. But for my lats and my pecs to have the same amount of soreness is crazy. I mean, that wide grip pull-up must do something to the pecs as well. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, like, if this is the soreness I produce from one exercise, this exercise is God tier exercise, man. Think about it. It's done pecs, it's done lats, it's done a bit of my traps, very, very mildly, but it's done also a lot of biceps. It's like the entire freaking upper body, man, almost. All the big movers got smashed. Today I've come in with this soreness and I felt very, very explosive with the deadlifts. Now, I don't know, what's happening there. Maybe it's just that proprioception, that feedback mechanism. Because I have this soreness of my lats, I can now fully engage the lats. I have that feedback and I can really clench down on those lats from the floor when I start pulling. And it's helped me. It's really, really helped me. And then I had the thought of what I started off by saying today. Man, I've seen so many guys with like humongously developed upper backs, man, like traps, lats. And they're like incredible deadlifters, but the legs are not all that big. So this idea of lats and traps and all that upper body stuff, it's a huge component to the deadlift. That's the feeling that I've got right now, man. It's huge. Huge. I was watching, I don't know whether you guys know this guy at all. I've kind of used to watch a lot of his videos back in the day, maybe like a year and a half ago. The channel is he's called Big Boy. Big Boy is like a Mexican fella. There was a video of him and John Hack lifting. There's two videos I watched. One's from 3 years ago, one's from 1 year ago. And they're, doing deadlift workout or whatever, and they're kind of exchanging, they're talking, all that stuff. Hack initially pulled like 800 at 181, which is freaking insanity. And then he pulled, I think it was last year, he pulled with him like 840 or 850 or something like that at 200 pounds, I think, I want to say. And after both of those deadlifting, working up all the way to a max single or training max, whatever you want to call it, they went into pull-ups and rows. And John Hack said the upper back is crucial. It's crucial to deadlifting. It keeps you upright. He said that it keeps you upright. And I thought to myself, that is interesting. Coming from somebody like him, it keeps you upright. Automatically, I thought about Caleb Woolham. I remember the video he did with Mark Bell at the Super Training Gym. Like he was talking about doing these cheat deadlift / rows. He's like heaving these things up, like, smashing the upper back. Today, I've come in and I'm thinking about these clips of memory that I have, and I'm thinking about how the bar feels. It just feels freaking amazing off the floor. So now I'm kind of feeling to myself, man, this upper back business, man, I reckon there's something to that and weakness of the floor. And I know. A lot of you guys have said, Ivan, it's your upper back, it's your upper back, it's your upper back. I've always said to you guys, man, sometimes you got to trip over the damn truth 50 times before you actually look at it and pick it up and be like, damn, this is the answer. It felt amazing. Today I felt amazing. Even though the soreness was there, I felt amazing after all those pull-ups. So moving forward, man, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking more of that. Like every other day, just smash the hell out of those lats. Pull-ups, 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 pull-ups. There's something to them. There's something to them. Deadlifting is a really weird exercise, man. Like to me, deadlifting, before it's anything else, it's a hip extension exercise, right? That's what it seems from the outside. But there is so much more going on, man. So much more going on. Yes, you need to extend the hips and the knees for that thing to lock out. But you need to understand the bar is in your hands, not on your back. So because the bar is in your hands, basically your shoulder girdle becomes a massive power leaker. The power leaks out of that shoulder girdle if it starts to unpeel. So just to picture yourself at the bottom of a deadlift and you're creating all this tension, right? And you pull. And you pull, and the moment you kind of pull with the hips and you push with the quads, all of that stuff's happening at the bottom of the body. And then your shoulders start to round, like you start to unpeel the lats. The lats can't support this weight, and so they start to unpeel. Instead of you locking down your lats, they start to. So you are pulling hard with one end, and on the other end, your arms are getting longer and longer and longer. It's almost like you're trying to walk on a bed, you're trying to lift on a bed, you're trying to, I don't know, pull a car with like a band, right? That's how it feels. Like you're pulling on that band, you're producing all this force, but the band is absorbing all of that energy, and it's nothing's going to the car because the band is expanding. That's kind of how you have to think about this. That's how I was thinking about it today. You want to make sure those arms are fully locked out, elbows are locked out, everything's locked out, right? You're not bicep curling this thing. You are fully rigid in your elbows, fully rigid in your traps, in your shoulder, the whole shoulder girdle. So every little bit of power that you produce from those hips gets translated to the bar, right? You're pulling a car with a band if you have shitty shoulder girdle stability. And the lats are massive, man. The lats literally go from your armpit, essentially, and they go all the way down to your lower back and the hip, essentially. So if you think about those 3 points of contact and you solidify them and you kind of tighten that muscle group, all of a sudden, no longer do you reduce the lever of that torso or the lever of the upper body, right? Because, the shoulders are not elevated, they are depressed. But you also solidify that force being transferred to the bar or, into the hips, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. As I was working through today's workout, I just kept thinking about those couple of videos from Big Boy and John Hack. Obviously, we know who John Hack is right now. Like he's, people are calling him like the GOAT already. Like he's a young fella, man. Like, but the way he deadlifts, the way he squats, the way he benches, it is literally a breath of fresh air. He is by himself resurrecting the sport of powerlifting. This is how the thing should be done, man. He's not arching like a bridge on the bench. He's squatting high bar, which is like, whoa. And he's freaking deadlifting convention like a freaking beast. Good on you, man. Good on you. You are literally by yourself saving the sport in my eyes. For me, as a viewer of the sport, that is a beautiful thing, man. That is what the sport should be about. Expression of strength. Wow, man. And of course, he's a freak. He's a freak of nature. The man is like... the fact that he doesn't even set up for the deadlift, he just bends over and grabs it and pulls it. It's like, whoa, man. That is just incredible. So big backs. They do something. Now that I'm thinking about what John Hack said about strong upper back keeps you more upright in the pool, right? That's interesting. Because how many of you guys have and I'm number one, example number one, we've complained about leaning over in a squat. Well, if John Hack says a strong upper back keeps you more upright in the pool, well, maybe the same thing can be said for the squat. Interesting. Some interesting things to think about. After squat and deadlift, I went over to the Olympic weightlifting component of my training session. and I was doing these snatch balances, which a lot of you guys have said that's not a snatch balance, man. It's a heaving balance or heaving snatch or something like that. Because I'm kind of like really throwing the weight up and then get underneath the bar rather than just dipping underneath the bar. Regardless, the reason why I like this exercise and it's become my primary exercise for the Olympic weightlifting part of my training session is because it's getting me comfortable with weight over my head like that, catching the bar, feeling the weight like that. That's what I love about this exercise. And today I worked to 60 kilos, which is another PR. Felt good. Felt good to kind of catch that much weight overhead. And also, once again, it felt good to have the lats on board. Excuse me. I've got a dry throat. So it felt good that my lats were engaged on the map for the deadlift, and also felt really good overhead. So a lot of you guys have said that the traps are kind of like the big foundation when it comes to overhead work. I understand that, but for me, in my experience, every single time I do a lot of pull-ups or whatever, I've never done a lot of rows, but predominantly pull-ups for my lats, I feel stronger in my shoulders. I feel stronger overhead. I feel just stronger everywhere. And you can see purely by the DOMs that I've produced since yesterday's workout, my chest, my lats, like two big muscle groups which are kind of pulling on opposite sides of the shoulder, right? So if you have those two guys turned on, then you will have stability overhead, right? Of course, the traps all come in as well with that, retraction of the shoulder blades. But you want, stability in the opposite direction, right? We often speak about this. So when you're snatching, you're kind of raising your shoulder blades up in a way. But for that motion to be strong, you need the opposite equivalent motion to be also strong. It's like the antagonist-agonist relationship. We are pressing overhead. So the thing that's extending, the thing that's relaxing, the antagonist, needs to be equally strong to allow the agonist to express its maximum force. That's kind of how I think about it. This is why rowing is really good for deadlifting. This is why squatting and deadlifting in my eyes are perfect opposites, because one is a predominantly a knee extension. The other one is predominantly a hip extension. When you kind of roll them up in one, they become, it's kind of like they facilitate each other a lot better. And certainly when I think about structuring my workouts, like if I'm doing a bench press, I love doing a little bicep curls purely for that elbow stability. Every time I do that, I kind of feel better. The biceps are not asleep. Once you get a bit of blood in there, my elbows feel healthier and I can safely push and it feels a lot better. This is why, somebody like John Meadows used to say, he got it from Tom Platz, the whole do your hamstring curls before, going over to squatting. It just feels better. It's that agonist-antagonist type of thing that just kind of makes us feel good, Man, coughing it up. So that's basically the thought of today. All these guys, I don't know whether you guys would agree with me. It's not a creepy thing, but I'm a people watcher. I love seeing people move, especially in the gym, because we all come in different shapes and sizes: short arms, long arms, short torsos, long femurs, short femurs, tibia length, blah, 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 ratios all over the place. And when you see somebody move effectively, like say in a squat, doesn't matter what the level of that person is, like whether a beginner, it doesn't really matter what the bar is loaded with, but you'll see the efficiency of their movement. And, if they move really, really poorly, you can get, like I sit back and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what is the number one cause? What is my assessment? If this person came to me right now and asked me, what do I need to work on? I kind of prepare an answer in my head, and I look around the gym all the time of like how people are moving. Squat, deadlift, obviously first and foremost. That's kind of what I like. But also the way people walk, the gait, how they're rolling in their ankles, rolling out their ankles. I don't know why, but it's really intriguing to me. And I think that all stems from the fact that I'm trying to work out my own puzzle. And by looking at other people, how they move, I kind of reflect and compare notes visually with other people and compare. I have long legs, right? A lot of you guys have kind of realized that. So squatting for me shouldn't be easy, and it's not. This is kind of why I fell in love with it, because it's so freaking difficult for me to get into a squat. There's people, day one in the gym, that they have a better looking squat than me. And that's not from me, from the lack of trying on my end. It's just because they have perfect build, right? They have a short femur, and just by the virtue of that, they're going to have better efficient, more better moving. However, that person going into a deadlift with his short, legs, long torso, if you're thinking about that, now they're going to have a lot more difficulty expressing efficiency or just power in a deadlift, because the lever is so freaking long. It's exactly opposite. So that advantage turns into almost like a disadvantage for the deadlift. So we all come in all these weird shapes and sizes. Okay, you are a really good deadlift, you got these long arms, but those very same long arms are a disadvantage in the bench press, right? But then this is where the nausea central comes in for me, because some of these people then arch the hell out of their back and manipulate and make those arms shorter because the range of motion is so small. But technically speaking, if everything was vanilla and everything how it's supposed to be, these people would then theoretically struggle with the bench press, relatively speaking, compared to the deadlift. And this is where kind of the fun of the thing, kind of happens for me. But then there's a lot more layers to this, like I said, manipulation of rules and all this sort of stuff, which I really get turned off about powerlifting. But anyway, that's how I look at other people, and this is why I enjoy going to the gym and seeing how people move, and I kind of learn from what I see there, and I kind of put those same thoughts into my puzzle and try to work out my stuff. Anyway, tomorrow I hope I'm not disabled in the upper back. Hopefully the soreness kind of dissipates a little bit. I really want to go tomorrow and do a lot of pull-ups again. So really looking forward to that. But this time around I'll do deadlifts first and then pull-ups, because I'm useless afterwards. I can't pull anything off the ground at all with sore, tired, fatigued lats. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Appreciate everyone on the list, on the DMs, on the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.